Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our special edition of The Benny Show. Today, Life Day, June 24th, shall forever henceforth be known as Life Day in America. Maybe Life Month. That's what June should be. The month when we assumed unto ourselves our birthrights, stricken directly from the founding documents, woven into the very being of this nation is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can't have any of those things without life. Life is first. That is your birthright as an American. And when somebody takes your life, they are defying and violating your constitutional rights. The foundingest documents there, the Declaration of Independence, says that you have the right to life. And now the Supreme Court has made a huge carving of the right to life directly into the faces of leftists, and man, they mad. Oh, they mad. We're going to be covering all the craziness and all the riots, but most importantly are the moments of rejoicing right now. And joining us here in just a moment is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a representative from Georgia. You know MTG, of course. She is a total savage and has been fighting for this issue and was on the steps of the Supreme Court this morning. The most important thing about this moment in time is to remember that the fight isn't over. We march on. This is simply kicking the issue back to the states. Now it's time for every single state legislature to ask themselves, do you want to be a life state or a death state? Do you want to live inside of a life state, or do you want to live inside of a state that worships death? The Democrat cult worships death. And it's become pretty clear as you watch them call for total insurrection in the streets, and as you watch them call for everything to be torn down and for this country to be ripped asunder. From Joe Biden to his Department of Justice to Catholic Nancy Pelosi, you have a world where the libs are crying. But somebody who is rejoicing and helping drink all of those salty tears is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's on her way to the airport, but she joins us now. Joining me now, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been the tip of the spear when it comes to the fight for life in Congress. She has had a spectacular run the last few days and has been on the front lines, and she was on the front lines this morning at the historic ruling, a date that will go down in infamy, June 24th, Life Day forever. Marjorie, what was it like being at the front of the court this morning?
It was thrilling. It was such an amazing feeling, Benny, and I know people feel that everywhere, whether you were there or at home or wherever. We're all just so overjoyed, and it was like being there with a miracle happening. And I was just so happy. Everyone was praising God. People were crying. People were praying, just celebrating everywhere. And then, of course, the left was there, the pro-abortion, pro-baby killing. They were out there screaming and shouting, just losing their minds. So you truly had good versus evil there, but good won today. Praise God, and we give all credit to God and just all the men and women and children who have done everything they have for so many years now in the pro-life movement. And then, Benny, of course, we have to say thank you to President Trump, because it never would have been possible if he had not appointed these pro-life Supreme Court justices.
I think people don't recognize that if we had lived inside of the world that was created by our last two Republican presidents, the Bushes, George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush, I mean, they gave us pro-abortion justices, Sandra Day O'Connor, people that upheld Roe v. Wade. These are the Republican presidents. It's not in my lifetime or your lifetime is there a president that's actually appointed pro-life judges.
That's right.
Like Donald Trump.
Trump was truly a pro-life president, and we miss him for so many reasons, obviously. But today we can be thankful for President Trump and the work that he did. We can also be so thankful to the justices themselves that did not get intimidated by all the things the left was doing to try to intimidate them and change their minds ruling. So, well, but really we give all credit and praise to God, and this is truly an answer to so many people's prayers.
Yeah, Donald Trump was on Fox News just seconds ago, and he was giving thanks to God himself. It is really a moment where all Christians and all lovers of life can sit and say, hey, wait a second, like, life is in our founding documents. This was always an abomination. This isn't Sodom and Gomorrah that we're living in. We're living in a country that says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so if you take an American's life away, well, that's against their constitutional rights. That's our first founding line in our first founding documents. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. But Benny, let me tell you something. The real work begins now. Now that it's been overturned, it goes back to the states where they control their laws on abortion. And so all the people in the pro-life movement have to get to work in their states. And so this is really where the real work begins to once and for all end abortion. And we know these blue states are going to continue to keep abortion going. They're going to fund it. They'll have abortion vacations for people that want to go and kill their baby, and I'm sure they'll have companies paying for it. You'll have states like New York that enable and have it by law where you can kill a baby up until the birth, which is absolutely horrific and evil. So while we celebrate today, we need to all recognize the real work begins now, and we have to double down, and we cannot give up. I also want to let you know, Benny, that my colleague from New York, AOC, was out there just not long after I was. She was calling for people to take to the streets, chanting it along with the crowd there that had been growing and growing. And this was at the same time that the Capitol Police officers were dressing in riot gear because they know what's coming, because the Antifa and other just insane people, truly the insurrectionists, they're calling to burn down DC, burn down our nation's capital. They already closed down the metro, so people can't even take the train because they believe it's so dangerous there. And they're calling to burn down the Supreme Court tonight. So we know who the left is. We already saw what they're capable of for years, and especially in 2020. They really are the party of riots. They're the party of insurrections. And we just have to worry about what will happen now, not only in Washington, D.C., but just all across the country, and at pregnancy centers and churches and anywhere people are truly protecting life.
Well, we are glad you are joining us, and you're getting out of Dodge, right? You're getting out of Washington, D.C. right now, and we think that you should. And if you are a conservative, a Christian, a moral person, we think you should just get out of that cesspool anyway. Should be turned into salt like Sodom and Gomorrah. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has a bill out in order to criminalize the terrorists who wish to terrorize churches, who've attacked 16 different crisis pregnancy centers, 16 different churches, and an attempted assassination attempt of a Supreme Court justice. Can you tell us about your bill, Marjorie?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Benny. It's a really important bill. It declares members of groups like Ruth Sent Us and Jane's Revenge, who have taken credit for those fire bombings and violent attacks on these pregnancy resource centers, and then also tried to kill Brett Kavanaugh. So yes, I put a bill in, and it declares them domestic terrorists, which they absolutely are. We've seen groups like Al Qaeda take credit for terrorist attacks. Well, these are also terrorist attacks, and they're meant to intimidate and scare and possibly murder people, absolutely murder people, and keep them from having a baby. I mean, it's all about having a baby. And so I introduced that bill, and I'm gaining co-sponsors. And I think it's really important for people to understand, especially my colleagues, that they need to take courage and co-sponsor this bill. We must get it done.
Yeah. Nobody is in favor of violence. We saw the Department of Justice say Antifa is a terrorist group, but nothing really happened. If your bill was passed, what would happen to people who firebomb a church, firebomb an abortion center, that attack a Supreme Court justice? What would happen to them?
They would be prosecuted under federal law the same way terrorists are prosecuted under our law, the same way we prosecute members of Al Qaeda or radical extremists that have committed acts of terrorism. So would these people. They'd be held accountable this very same way under our code of law. And then I also want to point out, Benny, we're heading out. We just finished voting on the Senate gun bill, which is, it is unbelievable to me that these Republicans in the Senate joined the Democrats to continue to decimate the Second Amendment and make, red flag laws a federal law, enabling and incentivizing, even paying states to violate Americans' due process rights under red flag laws.
Yeah. No red flag laws. Why would you want a red wave, not red flag laws? And we saw you calling out a red coat who wanted red flag laws, and we were very proud of you for that. Can you walk us through what happened there?
Thank you. We were having a press conference. Yeah, the Second Amendment Caucus, we were having a press conference, all standing together saying how we were against the Senate gun bill. Well, there happened to be a British journalist there that was attacking our Second Amendment rights, arguing with us over our opinion and us talking about how it's unconstitutional, violating due process, and how we're against red flag laws. Well, she was challenging me over and over again. And I just told her to go back to her own country where they don't have guns and they have mass stabbings and mass rapings and all kinds of issues. And I just told her she can go back to her own country, but we're keeping our guns. And, she should learn her lesson. I think they should remember that we have the Second Amendment because it was their king not too long ago in 1776 that tried to disarm American colonists.
Yeah, so thanks for the Second Amendment. There would be no Second Amendment if it wasn't for England. So we really appreciate that. They wouldn't have written those rights into law. So I guess, it sucks to suck. So when it comes to, I know we are short on time, but when it comes to Roe v. Wade, I gotta hear, what is the next step? Where do we go from here? 13 states have now banned abortion. Missouri, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, among them Oklahoma, Texas, are the ones off the top of my head that I know. Is Georgia one of those states? Where does the battle go from here?
I hope so. Georgia's heartbeat bill is stuck in injunction right now, but I think we got to get to work in Georgia. They need to get this law passed. They need to get it submitted now. And if not, we can pass another one. And I think the Life at Conception Act would be the right direction for Georgia to go in, especially going into the midterm elections. This would be a huge win for Republicans because in Georgia, we love babies. We are definitely pro-life.
Final question with the 2022 red, people call it the red wave. I think it's going to be like a red nuclear star nebula from the red planet. I think it's going to be 100 seats, 100 years. I'm totally on the side of Steve Bannon when it comes to this. What will a Republican majority look like? What is the legislation? What are the impeachments coming? Will Secretary Mayorkas keep his job? Where will the checks and balances on these Marxists begin? And what can you give us a preview of what people could have in store if they vote Republican this November?
Yes, absolutely. This is conversations that we're having constantly within our conference. And I'm happily seeing leadership move more to the right in the direction that I want to see them moving in. And I think many other Republicans in our conference are happy about that too. We're going to be looking at serious oversight on every single committee in Congress, and we are going to be holding them accountable for corruption and all of the wrongdoing that's been going on. Hunter Biden will be a big target. So will Joe Biden. We will definitely be going after Mayorkas. I think he should be impeached. Many of us are calling for that. But there's another one that we need to target, and it's Merrick Garland, the Attorney General for the Department of Justice, that is not doing anything right. He's not upholding our federal laws, and that is his number one job. With our border invasion every single day, fentanyl poisoning is the number one cause of death. The two-tier justice system, Benny, where they are persecuting January 6th pretrial defendants, violating their due process rights, but yet how they're not upholding the federal law and protecting the Supreme Court justices or parents at school board or anything like that. We need to hold him accountable, and we need to do a lot of investigations. I'm also interested in going after Dr. Anthony Fauci and what happened with these vaccines and COVID-19. But we'll catch up on that more later. But I got to jump out of the car and catch my.
We are winning thanks to fighters like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you for being on the program.
Thanks so much, Benny. I really appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Great day. Life Day. Bye, Marjorie.
Bye.
Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for joining us here on The Benny Show. Thank all of you for watching. We are jubilant. We are joyous. We are happy this show, and we are so thrilled, ladies and gentlemen, to be here in this moment, and so proud of this moment, because this is a moment when we take our nation back. We are a moral nation. We are a nation that puts God, family, country first. We're free men and women, and we intend to stay that way, and we intend to make this a sanctuary for life. God bless all of you for watching. My name is Benny Johnson.